Heidi, thank you very much for being here. I'm happy to have this interview with you. Welcome to Rudaw.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. So this Austrian Community Center at UKH, I know it's important for Kurdistan, but how important is it for Austria?
I think we always can learn from each other, and it has started already. I mean, there has been a student exchange between the University of Leoben, which is a city about 2.5 hours south of Vienna, and they are really world-known, famous for graduating experts that are really the best in the world in building railway tunnels, street tunnels, and so forth. And their focus is on really solutions in green technology. And I've heard that the University of Kurdistan also has a strong focus on environmental studies, and that students from all over Iraq come and study here. So I think this is a very strong common asset that we have. And
so, literally, how this center and exchange and expertise, how this is going to work between the Kurdistan region and Austria?
So far, as I said, there was or is even an exchange of students. Altogether, 20 Iraqi students from Erbil have gone to Leoben, and starting next year, 25, there's a program, a master program that started, and students can actually apply for it right now. And well, we hope that this is like the beginning, and that this spreads into other areas, like people coming and teach at the university, maybe not for a year, but giving guest lectures, cultural exchanges, and so forth.
Yeah, but the relation politically between Kurdistan and Austria is actually it's good.
Good.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yes.
Yeah, but on the other hand, we don't see this similar strength when it comes to other sector. I don't mean politically. When it comes to business, when it comes to culture, why?
Actually, there are quite a few Austrian companies that have invested here in Kurdistan, starting with Rudaw. They're producing fruit juice. Another company that builds fire trucks. I mean, I was just talking to the representative for the Chamber of Commerce, and she says she gets like 10 phone calls a day from Austrian companies who would like to come and invest in Kurdistan.
This is a very good start. So the interest is there. There's politically, there's good relations. You are in Kurdistan now, and you know about Kurdistan. You also, of course, you know about Austria. How Austria and Kurdistan can develop their relations more?
I think a good start was that the president, Bassani, visited our president this July, only 2 months ago, and also the Minister of Foreign Affairs. And we finally have an embassy again in Baghdad since last year. So, I mean, all these are signs on moving forward. And I think the most important thing is to transport that image that this is safe here. Yeah? Because people in Europe have all kinds of ideas what's happening in the Middle East, particularly now. And I think this is why it's important that people literally come and see. This is safe. This is a nice city. You don't have to be worried. You don't have to be worried about your investment. And to bring people here and see for themselves. And this is what I meant with these exchanges.
Yeah. You are a member of the Green Party.
Yes.
And according to UN's report, Iraq is one of the top 5 affected countries by climate change. How can Austria support Iraq and the Kurdistan region in this regard?
I mean, definitely with know-how, yeah. And I mean, I mentioned a few projects that we did. I mean, the Green Party is a small party. I mean, we had 14% in the election, the last ones. And even though we got so much done, and I mentioned those that, you know, it can be done in terms of mobility, in terms of urban planning. And I mean, I haven't seen a single bike route in Erbil. And I think this knowledge is kind of something that can be siphoned off into Kurdistan.
Yeah, and I think you've been here in summer.
Yes,
you witnessed.
I've seen hardly any solar here in a country where the sun is blasting, and I think probably it's as long as gasoline is so cheap, then maybe doesn't make sense to invest. I don't know, but this would be something that I would do straight away.
Also, due to the economic and political situation in this region of the world, and now we have climate change again in countries like Iraq, Syria, Iran, Turkey, and Kurds in these countries are migrating to Austria, other European countries, this is a problem now in the EU. So currently, what's the immigration policy of Austria?
I mean, Austria itself doesn't have an immigration policy. I mean, Austria is a member of the European
policy.
Yeah. And, well, we have now the Dublin Agreement, which is not working, I can tell you straight away, which means that the person has to apply for a visa in the very country the person enters. So, I mean, coming into Europe, this would be, I don't know, from Bulgaria, Romania, but this is not where they're staying. They want to go to Austria and Germany. And this is actually the problem. And most European EU countries have stopped, how would I say that, a legal procedure. Austria and Germany are the only countries where the procedure for seeking asylum is conformed with EU laws. All the other countries don't do this anymore. Like Hungary says, I'd rather pay a fine than have any immigrant here. So the problem is now that all this is coming towards two countries, and what we see is that in all these countries, right-wing parties are coming into power. They have been the strongest party in the last election in Austria. They gained a lot of votes in provincial elections in Germany, and this is due to the high immigration rate. And it is a big issue.
So somehow immigration is changing the political map.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Domestically in European countries.
Yes, definitely, towards the right.
Yeah, and now there's a rise of the right wings, but yet we can say that European countries mainly are led by social democrats, and you know, we can still say that. Are they taking any actions to change the course, to confront this problem, and at least to do something to stay in power?
I mean, first of all, I don't quite agree that all this, like if you look at Italy, right-wing party in power, Orban, right-wing party in power. I mean, Poland now has a different government, but what I see is not convincing me, and they cannot agree on a common policy. What I see is happening, that everybody retreats to their own country, and they think that they can build like a fence around the country and keep people from coming. Of course, this doesn't work. So the EU, I think, is in big trouble now because they cannot agree on something that works. And the first thing that I would do is that you, and this is where this university comes in, that you educate people and that you get people to stay in their country, that they have a perspective here.
So somehow now, we talked about how UN now regarding issues like the Middle East, Ukraine is not functional anymore. So the European Union as an institution, the EU, is not functioning when it comes to
in this regard.
in this regard.
Yes.
So every country is going back to their own
let's
borders.
build our little fence.
Yeah, that is quite a problem. The University of Kurdistan, UKH, and other universities, actually they are preparing an elite youth of Kurdistan, very talented, ready to work, with really great standards and understanding and up-to-date information. You're familiar with that, but there's a problem with creating jobs in this part of the world, including here, I mean, Kurdistan. As Austria, can you help Kurdistan in this regard? How to find jobs?
Well, to create jobs, and in Europe right now we have a different situation. We don't have people to work.
Yes.
And after the pandemic, it seemed like people disappeared, and a lot of migrant workers, like from Hungary and Poland, they went back and they never came back.
Even in the United States, now the problem is no one works.
I mean, I've heard that the main thing here in Iraq is to employ people because the unemployment rate is so high. But I think it also has to do with how the population develops. I think how many people live now in
Iraq?
Yeah.
Well, we don't have exact data, but we have estimations. Around 45 million.
Yeah, and I think it kind of exploded. So this is something I think that has to be tackled first, and create meaningful jobs. And not just something that you give people a little bit of money so that can hardly survive, but they are not doing anything that is fulfilling.
Yeah, they call that here the convincing unemployment. It's that you don't really produce anything, but you just have a job, or it's called a job. It's not really a job because you don't produce anything. It's not productive. You just go to somewhere, you stay there for a few hours, and at the end you get you're on a payroll.
It must be very frustrating, honestly.
Yes, I think that's kind of problem. So you mentioned that people who went back to Poland and Hungary, they didn't come back after the pandemic.
That was my impression, because all of a sudden people have disappeared.
So Austria now needs workers.
Yes, but we need workers that are qualified.
And how the government now is dealing with that?
There is one scheme. It's called Rot-Weiß-Rot-Karte. That's the flag, red, white, red. It's also not really working, and I would prefer that Austria is turning to a policy like Canada that picks the people. They say, we need IT, we need nurses, we need this.
Germany is doing that now. They are actually working on a law now. It will be passed in the parliament.
Okay.
In a Bundestag very soon. They will make it very easier compared to now.
Yeah, because it's impossible now to get almost a visa.
For people to immigrate legally into Germany, but which kind of people? Qualified people.
Yes, exactly. And this is where we have to get.
So do you think that with the rise of the right wings in Austria, it will be possible to pass such a law in the parliament?
I think it could be passed, but I mean, there is even I think there's opposition from different sides, like NGOs. They say everybody has to get asylum who is entitled to asylum. And of course, everybody coming from Syria and Afghanistan is entitled to asylum. But I think, there are 1 million Syrian people now in Germany, and it's not the refugees, it's just the families that are following. In Vienna, we have 300 kids coming every month from Syria. 300.
300 kids?
Every month.
Legally?
Legally.
Yeah.
Because the parents or whoever, uncle, whatever, has...
The family reunion.
Family reunion,
300 kids only from Syria. Do you have any numbers about Iraq?
No, I don't think we have a lot of people coming from Iraq.
Mostly from...
Yeah.
So,
and they're coming via Turkey, many of them.
The rise of the right wings in Austria, what will be changed in Austria mainly?
Nothing. They are not interested in a solution. They are not interested in solving this immigration problem because they feed on it. You know, if this disappears, they disappear.
So you expect that this problem will stay
I'm
as
not very
it is?
optimistic, to be honest, yeah.
Okay. And is migration was the main driver that made people vote for the right wings, or there are other reasons, economically?
I would say there were two things. Migration, and it's not that poor people wait for the far right. Don't think that. It's people who have achieved something, and they are afraid of losing this wealth. The reason could be immigrants. The reason could be, I don't know, an economic crisis. But it's that fear of losing what you've got that makes a lot of people vote the far right.
And why the Social Democrats and the central parties, why they can't convince those people? This is always a question
if
for
I
me.
could answer this question,
Yeah.
I would I would be a
sometimes
hero.
sometimes when even considering the last provincial domestic elections in Germany.
Yes, Thüringen, I was there.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, I was there. I watched
for example,
it live.
the right wings they won in a region that
There are no immigrants, very little.
yeah, even
No
since
unemployment.
the end of World War II, the right wings didn't win there.
Yeah.
This is a sign that it's really interesting that something like this is happening.
Yeah.
But the main thing for me is I would like to know your perspective. What is the driver that people are voting for the right wing in Europe? Okay, is it only migration?
To a large part, yes, but it's that fear of losing what you have. Yeah, and I told you I was in Thüringen, in Erfurt. It's one of the most beautiful cities I've been. I mean, everything seems perfect. It's like a fairy tale. The restaurants were full. People were out there drinking, partying. And you walk through it and you say, what do they miss? What do they miss? Why do they vote for a right-wing party that is not going to do anything for them? And it's really fear, and it's not rational. It's a mood. It's, you know. Okay,
I remember something here when it comes to the rise of the right wing. I remember at the speech of Slavoj Žižek. You may know him, the philosopher. He's very famous. He's leftist and he's Hegelian Marxist. He's from Slovenia. He's considered the most dangerous mind in the world that's currently alive by the Time magazine. Yes. But he said something interesting once, which is, he said, we can't blame the right wing. The one actually to blame, considering the winning of Trump's win, the last election, and the rise of the right wings in European countries, said it doesn't mean that the right wing, they have really something to give to people and propose as a solution. But this is that it means, if it indicates something, is that the left and the center and the Social Democrats, they all failed in the last decades in their policies and their promises to the community. What do you say about that? Do you think that the rise of the right wings, at least in Austria, the reason is not that people, they really are afraid of losing something, that they believe in the right wing, but it's that they don't trust the policies and the promises from the other parties anymore. And they've tried it for decades and they see now it's not working.
I mean, for example, Vienna has been run by the Social Democrats probably for 100 years, except the wars that we had. And I mean, even I from the Green Party, I must say that's a city it's the most livable city in the world every year. We are voted for this. And sometimes you wonder why people do this. They have cheap housing, they have great transport, and a good school system, a good medical system, and you wonder what drives them. And then when you talk to them, it's, oh, I see all these people, young Afghan, hanging out at the metro station. It scares me.
It scares them.
And the media pushes this. I mean, to a large degree, it's the media who pushes.
The media or social media?
Social media in particular.
Social media.
TikTok is like, yeah. And you
TikTok.
TikTok, definitely.
Mainly the platform is TikTok.
Yes. When it comes to right wing, it's in Islam. On the other side, Islamic.
On the other side,
right, because for me, Islamic and right wing are two sides of the same medal. And they reach the kids in Austria through TikTok, and you don't reach these people through the main media because they're all lying. They said they're all lying.
Okay.
And it's like WhatsApp groups where they get information and so forth, yeah?
So actually we have a problem here with TikTok affecting young children,
Yes.
boys and girls, but not politically. No, when it comes to other problems, we have our own problems with that. But you say that you have the same problem, specifically with TikTok. But politically,
TikTok is more the Islamic influence because this is the main tool they use, and they're good. I've talked to a guy who was in Syria, and he kind of realized that this is pretty silly what he did, and now he is talking to kids and he's telling them what happened to him, how he radicalized, and he said they are pros. They are definitely pros in what they're doing. And on the other hand, we have statistics that we don't reach the young people through regular media anymore, not even through social media. They are in their WhatsApp groups, and everybody's in an echo chamber,
or a bubble.
They only hear what they want to hear.
And this is how the algorithm works, actually. On social media, this is the problem, is that you are not really well connected to people. No, the algorithm drives you in a way. At the end, you are in a bubble.
Yes, exactly.
That you get in your feed. You see interactions and stories that you really are interested in.
That you want to hear.
Yes. So you'll not hear anything from the opponent or the other side. How is your connections and relations with the Kurdish community in Vienna?
I would say it's very close, and it always has been. I mean, I don't want to tell you my whole life, but I mean, even when I was a student in a student dormitory, we had Kurdish students, and they invited us to their weddings. So this is how I kind of grew close to them, and the Kurdish had always the image of being the most liberal, the most those who wanted to really connect with us. And now, I mean, I'm really connected with all kinds of Kurdish associations. I'm invited to speak, and I've been an election observer in the Kurdish region in Turkey, and I mean, I would say well connected. I know Mr. Ramazan, the head of the office in Vienna, and
that's good.
No, it's close to my heart, I have to say.
Heidi, thank you very much for this opportunity. It was a pleasure to have this conversation with you, and welcome to Rudaw. Welcome to Kurdistan again.
Thank you. I hope I could answer some of your questions properly.
Thank you very much. It was an interesting conversation.